anyway, so I remember locking my car door and putting one of those claws on it, you know, so that it wouldn't get stolen. And then I walked into the audition room, the second story of the really old building, and there was no furniture at all in this office. So we all sat on the floor, and they gave us the sides. You know, and I was worrying now, like, is this real? Like, I don't even, maybe I should go, you know, this just looks so sketchy. And, but I, you know, met the casting director, her name was Annette. She was incredibly nice and warm, and she put my fears to rest. And so I did the audition, and then I left and didn't think anything about it. And I got a call back. So that's always really exciting as an actor when you get a call back. And for the second call, for the first callback, Wes Craven was there, and he put, you know, different actors together to do the scene together, and he asked Amanda Wyss and myself to do the scene, and we were sitting on a couch just like this. In the casting director's office, there was furniture. So she had a little couch, and then her desk, and then Wes Craven's in a chair. And he's very quiet, he doesn't really say much at all, just introduces himself, and so we begin. And I remember Amanda and I, we just really got into it, and we did the scene where we're having the party at Tina's house, and and the whole thing, and we really just we really felt it. Like, there's a time when you're acting with another actor where you just get into the groove, and Amanda and I really did a great job. I thought we did, you know, it's the best we could have possibly done. And when we finished, Wes said, "Congratulations, you guys got the part."
Nice.
And we were just stunned, because that never happens where you get the part in the room. Usually, you know, they call your agent and you get a phone call, but he was just really confident, and he, you know, he really liked us, what we did that day, and I was always just amazed. And I really didn't even talk to him that day, and I met him maybe on a day we went to go try on wardrobe or something, and I met Wes Craven, and he still was just super shy and quiet. We didn't have that long of a conversation, and then over the next 5 weeks, we made a movie, and I got to know him really well by the end of it.
Speaking of getting into the groove with a fellow actor, I have to ask, did you get into any kind of groove with Mr. Johnny Depp?
Let's talk about Johnny. No.
Yes, please, because I think he's a little topical right now.
I know. And I have to say, I did not watch any of the trial, because I have a really, really great memory of Johnny. And we were both very new at acting. I was a little bit more experienced than he was, because I had done 2 after-school specials and commercials.
After-school specials,
And you remember those? Yeah. And I'd also done a little independent movie, so I had learned some of the tricks of being an actor, but he literally had never acted before, and so I would sometimes whisper "You gotta go do that over there," go stand on that mark over there, or that piece of tape, that's for you.
Go get sucked into a bed.
Get in your light, move into your light, So he was learning all about making movies for the first time, and he was a super nice guy. And when we ended up having to do that one scene where I have to kiss him.
Oh no.
I was so embarrassed, and he was so embarrassed, because we both he was actually married to a young woman at the time, and I think he got married when he was 17 or something like that. So we did not want to enjoy it at all, and so we didn't talk about it or practice or anything. So when we finally had to do it, Wes was even more embarrassed than we were. He couldn't even stand. If you'll notice, there are not a lot of love scenes in Wes Craven movies. He's a very modest person personally, but he's also very old-fashioned, kind of straight-laced person, and so he was more embarrassed than we were, and we were really embarrassed. So
was it like kissing your brother?
No, it wasn't like that. It was like kissing a really cute guy, but it still was embarrassing, because there's a lot of people watching, and I never think on-screen kisses look that great, unless there's a few that look great, but I always feel like your nose gets pushed to one side, so I was just really worried about it, and I think we did 1 take, maybe 2, and then we were all so embarrassed we just didn't do any more takes.
That'll do. All right.
And then I think Wes was like, okay, that's it, let's go on to the next scene. Like he did not want us to, linger on that moment at all.
So with the moment of the phone, how long did that linger?
Oh, like 12 hours. Like any of the scenes that were Freddy oriented or like magical realism, the phone,
The tongue.
that one look that my eyeball does where I have to look down at the phone. We did that take maybe, I don't know, 25 times because he wanted my eye to just do this one move really sharply and very, very close up. So back in those days, they didn't have automatic focus machines that they do now. So the focus puller actually is just trying to get it just in focus. And if it's not in focus, you do another take. Right. So that was a lot of takes, and the bathtub scene was all day. And
You were in that water all day?
I was in the water all day long.
Did they refresh it and keep it warm for you?
Yeah, they'd pour some hot water in there once in a while. It got pretty cold actually, but I would get out and warm up and then get back in. So there was so many different shots, probably 20 different shots for that particular scene. So each time I had to, relight, and they would warm the water up and put new bubbles in. So my modesty bubbles, I call them, so that you wouldn't see everything under the water.
Bubbles.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a really fun scene to do. So all the scenes that involved Freddy, coming into my dreams were very technical, and very, took a long time to do.
We are going to do some Q&A. If you guys have any questions, feel free to line up at the microphone and we'll get to you guys shortly. I just ask that you ask something that maybe hasn't been asked before, in like the realm of what we know about Heather already. Something that other than a yes or no question, and we know you love her, so just get to the question, that way other people can go as well. So feel free to start lining up if you want to do that. One scene that I really remember, growing up as an 80s kid, Freddy is my boogeyman. Freddy is who, we grew up being scared of. Plus the kids in the movie we could relate to because they're all American kids. They're going to high school, they're having parties. The one scene that stuck with me was the stairs, the marshmallow stairs or whatever they were. And I just thought, like, technically filming that had to be, it grossed me out because it was like a tactile thing. It was sticky and it was gross, plus the horror of it all. What was that experience like for you?
Well, so as the movie's winding down, the producers were, they were like, come on everybody, let's go faster and faster, because we were running out of money and running out of time. And we still had that big last section to do where Marge is, being sucked through the window and all that crazy stuff. And they didn't really have any ideas about how to make it scarier at the end. So the producer himself, Bob Shea, he said, this is a nightmare that I have, which is like getting caught in the sticky stairway and not being able to go upstairs. So he begged, I think, Wes, or at least they had a couple conversations where he really wanted that in the movie. Like, I really want this scene where Nancy gets stuck in the stairs. And I think Wes was like, okay. He's the producer, gotta, make him happy.
So he had his nightmare.
And so he had his nightmare thing he wanted in the movie, and this is what I hear, that, the special effects guys are like figuring out what's gonna look gooey, and I think they settled on, I think it was like cream of mushroom soup and oatmeal, and it smelled really bad. And it was kind of lumpy, but not too lumpy, and so they basically made a stairs, and they carved out the center of each step so that there was no wood there. And they kind of put like a bucket basically and filled it with, the goo. And then they put the carpet over it, and then they scored the carpet so that my foot would just go straight through. And so my foot would go through the carpet and come out, and it really looks great. I mean, talk about a cheap, probably costs about $45 to do that effect, and
sometimes the practical
it's really imaginative, and so many people.
Was it as gross as it like?
I mean, they could have done anything to me, I wouldn't have even cared. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do today? Like every day was something else. Like, oh, one day they're like, you're gonna fly today. We're gonna put you in this harness, and it ended up not being in the movie because I think they couldn't really figure out how to do it. But I was gonna be like falling into my dream, and so I had this harness, and I'm like flying. You know how people look in movies when they're flying. It looks kind of silly, right?
So a little behind the scenes.
Yeah. So, but that didn't make it, and they realized they pulled the plug on that effect. But every day they tried to have something new and different, and like for example, the scene where Freddy's face comes over my head while I'm sleeping. that was literally off, the special effects guy, Jim Doyle, said, you know, there's this new fabric, and it's called spandex.